Norton will see I'm truly the most, and all this time he's been chasing a ghost. There are two things that are hard to hit and see. That's the spooky ghost and Muhammad Ali. Hey!
1976, a year after the brutal thriller in Manila, his next big test would be against Ken Norton, a man who'd beaten him before. Ali was now 34. He arrived in New York with an entourage requiring 74 hotel rooms. Norton, an ex-Marine, had broken Ali's jaw 3 years before in their first meeting. It would be another blistering encounter.
Did you ever talk to him about going on as long as he did? Did you?
I had my own little gimmick with him when he was a kid. Fifth Street Gym. Heavyweights would come there, and they would be a little bit in the shot side, and then the rhythm, the reflex is not there. Well, these guys would be up in the gym, and they'd be skipping rope, and they sort of would stutter. I call it stutter. So Muhammad, I'd bring him over. As a kid, he was 19 years old. I said, see that guy there, Muhammad? All shot. What do you mean all shot? Listen to the rhythm of his steps. Stuttered. So I was in the car with him for later years, and the twilight was starting to come, and he's riding in the back seat. I'm in the front seat, and I looked back at you. I said, Muhammad, yeah, you're starting to stutter, I said. He knew what I was saying. I told him, but he did what he wanted to do.
The third meeting between Norton and Ali is in one of his most boisterous moods.
With his speed and reflexes not what they used to be, Ali was now having to employ every bit of his cunning to try to win.
I believe that if Ali can make you listen to what he's saying and concentrate on his verbiage in the ring, then you can be concentrating on what you're supposed to be doing as far as fighting him is concerned.
He almost conned Sonny Liston into defeat, and he's trying to do the same with Ken Norton.
I mean, things came out of his mouth that I never thought I'd ever hear him say. And I was shocked just on the things that he said. But, you know, and then I kind of understood it and how he got people off their game and they're thinking what he wanted to think or hating him and trying to kill him because he will say anything to you. I mean, he said things to me, I swear to God, I don't think Ali would have ever said. But I understand it. After the fight, I understood it.
Some things I cannot repeat, but they were all very juvenile. And to me, they were funny. I didn't fall for any of them.
McCanty says to Ali, I'm telling you for the last time, stop that, and that's the talking. One or two of these body punches were really aimed in there with some viciousness, and it's a grim fight to stay on top now by the champion. The man is confident and on top of the world, Ken Norton. And a great championship reign seems to be coming to an end in Yankee Stadium. And Norton finishes it on top all the way. There's the bell, and we have a new heavyweight champion. We can't announce it officially, but everybody in this stadium and everybody in that ring knows it.
8 rounds Ali, 7 Norton.
One judge has given it to Ali by 8 rounds to 7, and that's the first sensation. That can't be right.
Harold Letterman scores the fight. 8 rounds, Ali, 7 rounds.
Ali has won it. 2 judges have voted for Ali, and that cannot be right.
I just lost my confidence in the boxing world. I didn't trust him anymore.
And that man is the real heavyweight champion of the world as he goes out of the ring. He shouldn't be the loser.
Do you think it was a miracle that the judges gave you the fight as well? No, judges know more about than you do. Especially referee. They in there, they see.
If I lost, it wouldn't be because he was the greatest, but he acclaimed the greatest. Rocky Marciano wasn't great. He knocked out old Joe Louis, knocked out old Archie Moore. So if I lose, it'll be because I was old. So I'm getting out now before somebody catch me in my old age. It don't mean he's the greatest, but you always remember I got whooped. They won't say I was old, he got whooped. The greatest got whooped. So I'm getting the last laugh and saying goodbye.
There was a time in the middle of his life there that I couldn't tell who the real Ali was. And I kept thinking, well, I got to remember young Cassius Clay. I never called him Cassius Clay to his face once he changed his face, but that's what kept me in focus about him, because sometimes there was such a performance, if there was more than one person around to the audience, he would go into a persona. And I kept wondering, well, what is the real Ali?
Once you got two people in a room with him, that constituted an audience to Ali. Then Ali had to play to the audience. So then he was off, you know, then he was bump, he was doing all the gags, the one-liners, you know, this, that, and the other. But if you got him on your own, he was quite quiet, and it was all an act, which was marvelous.
Good guy, sensitive guy, soft-spoken. Very seldom he lets you see the anger that he carried sometimes.
I'm not just a boxer. I'm taught by Elijah Muhammad. I'm educated. Even Oxford University, your biggest seat of learning, offered me a professorship in philosophy and poetry to come in to teach. I'm not just an ordinary fighter. I can talk all week on millions of subjects, and you do not have enough wisdom to corner me on television. You do not have enough. You are too small mentally to tackle me on nothing that I represent. I'm serious. You can't beat me physically nor mentally.
Well, he was bright, and he understood money, but he was a little naive. He would tend to believe what people said to him. And everybody always had a scheme, you know, and it was usually a get-rich-quick scheme. I remember somebody came to him and wanted to build a car and call it the Ali. And I said, Ali, do you have any idea what kind of money it costs to get into the automobile business? I mean, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars to do this. No, it'll be okay. He can do it.
I remember one little guy had nothing to offer in the camp at all as far as training or any kind of work he could do, but Ali just liked him. He just came out of nowhere and got into entourage, got paid. See, Ali used to pay you every week, plus a bonus after each fight.
Ali is not as wealthy today as he should be. With all the money he made during his career, with all the money he generated, and with his persona, he should be one of the richest men in the world today. He's not. That's partly because he was badly exploited financially. It's also in part because material things have never mattered a whole lot to Muhammad. He's always been a very generous person. And yet there's really no reason for anybody to feel sorry for Ali because he still makes a lot of money. I wish I had his earning capacity.
I'll be remembered as the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. I'm afraid of nobody.
Son, eat your burger.
Yes, Mama.
What do big mouths have for tea? The Bird's Eye Quarter Pounder.
He now had 6 children to support, not to mention 2 ex-wives. And with an ever-growing entourage, Ali's declarations of retirement would be short-lived. But he was barely hanging on to the world title.
What a finish for this fight. Once again, the signs are out that Ali is living on borrowed time.
You stopped being in his corner, I think, after the Ernie Shavers fight, did you not?
Yeah.
How did you convey that to Muhammad himself, that you were no longer going to be fun?
I wrote letters to him, to his wife, who was really a caring, wonderful person and had some control over his life, to Herbert, and to Angelo, saying these are the findings that the New York doctor found. That tubule cells were in the urine, all kind of things were happening to him. My findings are that he's slipping neurologically more and more every fight. You could just listen to him talk, look at the tape from one fight to the other, you could see his deterioration. And if you continue like this, you're going to have massive brain damage, which is going to lead to the other neurological disorders, either Parkinson's or midbrain damage, which is exactly like Parkinson's.
And what was the reaction to those letters?
Total and complete silence. I didn't hear from one person. Nada. Now, even Angelo, who was the godfather of my child, said, not a word. They were in a different business. They were in the business of keeping the golden goose alive.
You stayed with him in those